little dreamers. It's me. Once upon a time in a faraway land nestled between whispering willows and sparkling streams, there lived a sweet young girl named Cinderella. She was gentle, polite, and always ready to lend a helping hand. Even though her days were filled with many chores, thanks to her stepmother and stepsisters, Cinderella never complained. She swept the floors, washed the dishes, and cared for the animals with a smile as bright as the sun. Her friends, the little birds and mice that played in the garden, loved her dearly because she treated them with kindness and whispered secrets only to them. Deep inside, Cinderella carried a heart full of dreams. She believed that one day her life would change and something wonderful would happen because kindness always brings light, even in the darkest of times. One bright morning, a royal messenger arrived in the village. He carried a golden letter sealed with the king's crown. Excited whispers filled the air as he read aloud the royal announcement. The prince is holding a grand ball at the palace. Every young lady in the kingdom is invited. Cinderella's stepsisters clapped their hands and squealed with joy. They dreamed of wearing the most beautiful gowns and hoped the prince would notice them. They rushed to their mother, begging for new dresses, ribbons, and jewels. Cinderella, too, felt a tiny sparkle of hope in her heart. Maybe, just maybe, I can go as well, she thought softly. But her stepmother only laughed and shook her head. You go to the palace? Don't be silly. You stay here and finish your work. As the evening of the ball arrived, the house buzzed with excitement. Cinderella carefully helped her stepsisters dress in their shining gowns and polish their shoes while they teased her and told her to stay busy sweeping the floors. When they finally left for the palace, Cinderella stood alone in the quiet house, her eyes filled with tears. She had dreamed of going to the ball, but her stepmother had forbidden it. At that very moment, a warm, gentle light filled the room. Out of the glow appeared a kind woman with a sparkling wand. "Do not cry, my dear," said the fairy godmother. "You shall go to the ball." With a wave of her wand, she turned a pumpkin into a golden carriage, mice into horses, and Cinderella's old dress into a gown of shimmering silver. On her feet sparkled glass slippers, as delicate as moonlight. The palace shone like a dream, with golden lights dancing on its tall windows. Music floated through the air, and the guests wore gowns and suits more beautiful than anyone had ever seen. Yet, when Cinderella entered, the whole room grew silent. Her silver gown sparkled like starlight, and her glass slippers glowed softly with every step. The prince's eyes widened the moment he saw her. He walked past all the other ladies and bowed before Cinderella. "Would you honor me with a dance?" he asked kindly. Her cheeks turned rosy, but she nodded. Together, they twirled across the marble floor, moving as if they were floating on air. The guests whispered in amazement, wondering who this mysterious lady was. But Cinderella only laughed softly, forgetting her sadness, feeling as if her heart had finally found its song. For the first time, she felt truly seen, truly cherished. The night was filled with joy, but high above, the palace clock began to strike midnight. Dawn, dawn! Each sound echoed through the hall. Cinderella remembered the fairy godmother's warning. The magic would end at 12. Her heart raced. "I must go," she whispered. She hurried out of the ballroom, the prince calling after her. Down the palace steps she ran, her gown glowing in the moonlight. In her rush, one delicate glass slipper slipped from her foot, but she could not stop. Just as the clock struck its final note, she reached her carriage. In an instant, the magic disappeared. Cinderella stood in her simple clothes again, holding only one shining slipper in her hand. The next morning, the palace was buzzing with news. The prince had vowed to find the mysterious girl who had stolen his heart. All he had was a tiny glass slipper she had left behind. He traveled across the kingdom, visiting every house. Many tried to fit their feet into the slipper, but it was always too big or too small. At last, he arrived at Cinderella's home, where her stepsisters eagerly pushed forward to try. But the slipper did not fit them. Quietly, Cinderella stepped forward. "May I try?" she asked softly. Her stepsisters laughed, but the prince nodded. With care, she slipped her foot into the glass slipper, and it fit perfectly. The prince's eyes shone with joy. "It's you," he whispered. Soon after, Cinderella was welcomed to the palace. The prince and Cinderella were married in a celebration filled with music and light. From that day on, her kindness and dreams guided her to a life of love and happiness. And so, dear little dreamers, Cinderella's magical night reminds us that kindness is the strongest magic of all. Believe in your dreams, stay gentle, and never lose hope, because wonderful things can happen when you least expect them. Now close your eyes, let your heart rest, and drift into a sweet sleep filled with starlight and dreams. Good night.